It's in the process. Hello, thank you for watching the second video in our series explaining satisfactory academic progress, the requirements and procedures at Gateway. This video is going to explain a little bit more about the different academic statuses related to financial aid and satisfactory academic progress, as well as some steps that students can take to stay in good standing for their financial aid. As a review, satisfactory academic progress, which we will commonly refer to as SAP throughout the rest of this video, are the federal regulations that students must meet to maintain their financial aid eligibility. There are 3 requirements that students must meet to maintain that good standing. They must maintain a minimum 2.0 cumulative grade point average. They must successfully complete at least 67% of the credit hours that they've attempted, and they must finish their academic program before attempting more than 150% of the credit hours required to complete their declared degree, diploma, or certificate program. We did go more into depth into those different requirements in the first video, so if you haven't watched that, please do so. So in this video, we want to go into a little bit more detail on the SAP and academic statuses. So for SAP statuses, again, these are what students are communicated with at the end of each semester. So either students are in good standing or they're in SAP warning or suspension. So a SAP warning happens the first semester after a student fails to meet one of the SAP requirements. SAP suspension is what happens after a student fails to complete or meet rather SAP requirements after 2 consecutive semesters. A student on SAP warning can continue getting financial aid. However, a student on SAP suspension will no longer be allowed to receive financial aid. Now they can appeal that process, which we'll talk about in our next video, but unless they get an approved appeal, a student on SAP suspension will not be eligible for financial aid. They can continue signing up for classes and enroll, but they would not be eligible for financial aid. Now these differ from some academic statuses that students may also see, and we just want to explain that too so there's no confusion. Students will be placed on what's called academic probation whenever their cumulative GPA drops below a 2.0. Academic probation, you can still get financial aid and you can still enroll in classes. It's really just a warning. Academic suspension happens if a student is on probation for 2 consecutive semesters and does not raise their cumulative GPA above a 2.0 or earn a term GPA, which is the GPA for that particular semester, in their 3rd semester after being on probation for 2 consecutive semesters. Students that are academically suspended can no longer enroll in classes and must sit out at least a year and then apply for reinstatement. So we just wanted to kind of explain the different academic statuses there to prevent some confusion. To encourage students to stay in good standing, there are several resources that we want you to take advantage of while you're at Gateway to make sure you're successful in your coursework. First, make sure you're working with your assigned academic advisor. They will help you make sure you're taking the right number of classes for your particular situation. This means that you're not putting too much on your plate. They'll take into consideration your work hours, your obligations for family responsibilities or responsibilities at home, and just making sure that you're not taking too many classes that will make it really tough for you to be successful in those classes in that situation. So working with an advisor, very helpful. They'll also make sure you're taking the right classes for your degree and that you don't have any issues with that maximum time frame component and that you graduate on time. We also recommend using the Center for Academic Success. They offer free tutoring for help with your classroom work, but they also have success coaching. And success coaches can help you with time management skills, study strategies, really those things that help you become a better college student. So that's a great resource for you to take advantage of as well. We also encourage students to look into organizations like our TRIO Project Aspire. They're great to help make those connections and be more engaged with the college. So TRIO, for example, provides a lot of services like tutoring and counseling as well, but on a much smaller scale because they don't work with all the students, they just work with the students that are in their program. If there are other organizations that students can be a part of, we really just encourage you to make those connections and be more engaged with the college to be more successful. Lastly, we want to kind of talk about what happens when a student is considered SAP suspended. So when a student does get that notification that they are now considered SAP suspended, they're no longer eligible to receive financial aid. If they want to continue taking classes, they can, but in order for them to continue getting financial aid, they must appeal their status and have that appeal approved by a committee to continue getting their financial aid. We'll talk about that process more in depth in the next video, but here's just a brief overview. Students must submit the online SAP appeal. They must submit required documentation to verify that the information that's listed in the appeal is accurate. So basically, whatever you write about, or whatever the student writes about in their appeal, they must have some sort of documentation to verify that information. Once the appeal is completed, students will complete a plan of action with their advisor to go over what remaining coursework is needed to complete their degree. If a student is suspended, however, because of maximum time frame, that plan of action is going to be required before the committee reviews and makes their decision. That's just because the student has already taken so many classes. The committee just wants to make sure that the courses that are being taken in the future will be needed for that degree, and to see actually how many courses are left for the student to complete. So that's just a brief overview of some of the academic statuses, recommendations for how students can stay in good standing, and a brief overview of the SAP suspended process. Again, please refer to our other videos to learn more about the different requirements for meeting satisfactory academic progress, as well as an in-depth look into the process for students to complete their SAP appeal. Thank you for watching. We hope you found this video helpful.